how much does production value actually matter when growing YouTube channels and creating social media content to increase the perception and reach of your company? That's what this video is going to figure out, right? I've got here a professional microphone so that the quality is so much better, but I would wager that your content, and that is the single biggest thing. If people get immense value from what you do, they will share it with other people. And what's interesting about this is that you don't have to have billions of views for your content to have truly helped an individual. One view would be able to do that. Now, is it more likely that you have helped more people if you have reached a wider number? Like, obviously, definitely. But is it guaranteed? No. So this is the differentiation, and it matters so much in business between reach and quality of your viewer. So a friend of mine doesn't get many views at all. So he gets a couple of hundred views per video, anywhere from nothing to 500, and he averages about 200, which most people are like, you're not a YouTuber, like you're clearly not very good at what you do. But yet he makes $100,000 a month off of so few views, because the people who are watching him are actually the people that he is targeting to give value for them to make positive changes to their life and then eventually come and buy from him. Kind of wild. And you're thinking, oh, well, maybe he's got a massive Instagram following. No. He's got, or he had, when he first hit this number, about 10,000 Instagram followers. Now I think he's around 20, which just proves the point. When you have other YouTubers that I know who have 2.5 million subscribers and they're only making 20-30% more than this other guy who has literally a percent or a fraction of a percent of what these other guys do, how much value you give to each individual drastically changes what they are willing to pay for what you do, right? Which is why Hormozy talks about this all the time, and he says, give away all of the secrets and then sell the implementation. This is exactly how we do it, but if you want it done, let's go. And we were talking, my fiance and I were talking yesterday about pricing and saying that Hormozy talks about this a lot, in that the difference between your pricing tiers should be 5 to 10x between the thing. Because if your entry level thing is, I don't know, pick a number out of it, £10, right? If your next thing is £12, that's the same price. But if your next thing is £100, and then your next thing after that is £1,000, now you're serving different people. And so, and I can tell you this for a fact, my friends who have 2.5 million subscribers, they are making all of their money off of the £10 product, right? They are going, I want to help as many people as possible, and I just want sheer volume. And for that, they will pay a very, very small amount of money. And this is like the Netflix model. You provide so much content, it's unmatched, that you'd feel stupid saying no, but you sell it to so many people, you actually still make money. This is a really hard route to go down if you are starting a business. Really tough. Because reach is potentially the hardest thing to get. The world's most limited resource right now is attention. And so that's what you are capitalizing on, which is why it seems that influencers can turn into millionaires overnight, because what they have built is phenomenally valuable. Like if you look at Dwayne Johnson, Conor McGregor, Ryan Reynolds, they all started billion-dollar companies overnight because they are some of the world's most famous people that have so much influence, and the moment they release anything, people buy it. And that's what happens once you become an influencer. But getting there is not easy. And so most of us who will never become an influencer, or have no desire to be, you then need to provide much greater value and solve real pain points for very specific problems. And the more specific that problem and the more it's worth to the person, the more they will charge. So my other friend who was earning a similar amount but with far, far fewer reach, with much shorter reach, his price point is 5 to 20,000 per person. look at the size difference there, from tens to tens of thousands. Talking 1,000 times more value, so you need 1,000 times fewer people to make the same money. Which is why with a following of 1,000th of an influencer, he still makes the same amount of money. And so that all comes back around to, how much does production value actually matter? And I think the answer is very little. But as you grow, as you scale, if you produce higher quality things, you're increasing the small margins of, this will get people to stay longer. This seems like someone who knows what they're doing because they can afford to do this sort of stuff. But I think the biggest change that you can have that has an immediate impact on your speed of growth is going to be your thumbnail and your title, because those two things are your hooks. Your hook is your first couple of seconds of a video, or any piece of media or marketing, which grabs the attention. And the point of the hook is to increase reach, right? It's to get people bought in to watch, to click. But the value of the content is what will get people to stay. And when you get people to stay, that then builds trust. And once you have trust, then people will buy from you. So you either need a lot of trust on a few amount of people, or little trust with billions, and both of those can make you make loads of money. But if you apply them both, now all of a sudden you're one of the wealthiest people on the planet, which is no easy task, which is why very few people do both, because they are very separate skill sets, and you've got to learn both separately. So all in all, should you go out and buy that new Osmo? Should you go and buy that new microphone? Should you go and get the lights and the new setup? And probably not. Test the systems first. Throw all the shit at the wall. See what sticks. And then double down on that. Then spend 70% of your time on that, if that's your goal. So for me, growing this is not my goal. Which people are like, well, why are you putting it out on the internet? Some people journal, I like to talk, and I like to provide value for anyone that is interested, but more so for me. When I look back, I've now got a journal, a list of things that I can see. I was in this country at this time doing this thing in my business, and just sharing the journey so that I can look back and say, oh yeah, I remember that, and this is what I was feeling at the time. And you can see the ups and downs and the emotions of my videos and stuff, and that's why I do this. But if this is helpful to you, cool, enjoy. And thank you to my fiance for allowing me to borrow a mic. Peace.